Welcome to SonarFeed!
Damn, dude.
Episode 219. The lost episode.
Not lost, last.
Oh, just kidding. The last SonarFeed episode 8. Sorry. I'm rusty.
Somebody's a little too hype.
Your hype levels are
Yo, dude, I'm
off
ready.
the
I miss
charts.
y'all, man.
They're
Missed
over
you.
9,000.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hype level 9,000.
9,000.
Do you want to tweet something about us being on the show?
I did already.
Cool,
With the
thanks.
link and some photos of you guys looking all sexy.
Word.
Oh, dude, I like that. Having your scarf on the arm? What?
He thought that through.
This guy's boss.
Dave's been here for so
Es
long.
Un jefe de jefes.
He's been here so long today that he had time to like plan out his whole area.
Decorated.
He actually picked out which mic wasn't the janky one. He is
Did I
all,
get the janky one?
all
You got the
in.
janky one, but that's
No,
because I
you
thought
do
that's where
not.
Mark
I have
was
the one
sitting.
with duct tape.
Oh, no, I thought that's where Mark was
That
sitting.
would be
but then you're
painter's-
like,
that would
I
be
want to sit
painter's
next to
tape.
me.
Oh,
You
yeah.
said it. You wanted to sit next to Dave.
I screwed up.
Way to go, Tom.
We were trying to have an intelligent table.
Well,
What happened?
Anyway. So welcome back. We had a week off last week. So shout out to the Berliner for not being pissed off at us for not being here for a week.
love you, Berliner.
So since we've been on, since we've been gone, there have been a number of things that have happened in the world of sports and life and other.
Yes, nonstop. It's been a crazy month.
So Sounders have lost 2 games. The U.S. men's national team won a game.
Wait, lost?
Sounders
Won
lost
one.
twice, yo.
No, won one, lost one.
It felt like a loss.
They won at home, crushing Vancouver, and looked pretty okay.
When were you last here, dude? The last 2 games
Yeah.
are won and
Last 2 games. So last 2 games, you got
so we
Philadelphia
have a
lost.
win at Vancouver,
No, right there, dude. That's a win since our last game.
win versus Vancouver, and a loss at Philly.
Yeah, you said 2 games. That's
It
one
feels like so long
so
ago.
long, dude. Yeah, I agree. I
game.
totally
A 2-goal
agree.
loss and a 3-goal win. You just
But
called
we
2
haven't
straight
done
losses.
the show since before RSL, so that's what it is.
Yeah, it just feels long.
We had
Oh,
RSL.
Yeah.
And Vancouver and Philadelphia. So two losses and a win in the middle.
I had a good time in Philadelphia.
Since the last time we've had a show. That
No,
was a really long
didn't-
time ago.
I obviously am not as good at traveling like you guys. I totally
Yeah, dude,
could
2
have
games
planned
in a week.
better and tried to make that Philly game.
We haven't been here since the whole week.
Me
prior.
too.
We had Lamar Nagel on the Monday
my.
before the
I,
Vancouver
I
game.
didn't make
Oh,
my
my.
flight.
He talked to us for 2 hours. It was a great
Was it
show.
Robert?
Go to the archives. Listen to it.
Ryder.
I can't remember, dude. It feels like so
Yeah,
long ago
Looking out.
that I can't even
Thank
keep
you.
track. Anyway, so since we were last here, in theory, we've won a game and lost a game. And that looks tremendous.
And only one of us missed the
Only
flight.
here at the Berliner pub.
Oh, that's right. You missed your flight to Philly.
We should talk about that. I can't believe that it was that long ago that we were here.
Philly.
Well, I didn't miss it per se. I woke up at 6 in the morning, and it was in an hour and 45 minutes, and I was pretty sure I was still drunk. So
That's so Mark.
It is
all,
so
all
hard.
I can say to that one is go Cougs.
Kuogs.
¿Te molesto con un tenedor, Katie? Un tenedor, por favor. Thanks.
Anyways, who are you people?
So, who are you?
I'll take that.
Well, my name's Mark, otherwise known as SSFC Fody
Oh, I didn't see
13.
that.
The OG Fody.
Who's to
To
your
to
right?
my right is
Hugo Garcia, a.k.a. Mi Vida Seattle. And to your right, far right, my far left is
Oh, far or near?
far.
near him,
Near.
far me.
Near and
Near.
far are not the same thing.
Near, far, wherever you are.
Which would,
Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooey.
There you go.
Hey, I don't know the last time we had a show, and Dave doesn't know the difference between near and far, or Ugo doesn't know the near and far.
I knew the difference. He was pointing at me
Someone
talking
doesn't
about
know
you.
what
Yes,
they're
that's
talking
exactly
about.
it.
I'm Dave Clark at Better Than. That's
that?
all of us. Oh, off mic today is the producer extraordinaire.
Boom.
Weigel.
Michael.
Weigel's very busy this week with real work, which we love. You can
Yeah,
hire him
yeah.
at Bootstrapper Studios
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
or the Twits or whatever. You can reach out to the Weigel and Bootstrapper Studios for all of your live video needs. And by all, I mean all.
Oh,
He'll find a way to
talking-
succeed.
sporting events. I'm talking corporate events. I'm talking educational events. And my man's got it all.
This
So-
week it's the GeekWire Summit, so if you're into technology,
Was that this week?
watch the GeekWire Summit and know that our man Weigel, producer extraordinaire, is producing it.
God, I just dropped a piece of bacon, y'all. And then it went to the ground.
This is. I couldn't decide if you were more freaked out that you were A, dropping the bacon, B, dropping the bacon on your lap, or C, dropping the bacon on your laptop.
Oh, man.
I thought he was dropping it because it
All
was
of the
hot.
above.
I thought it was because he was really excited for the GeekWire Summit.
So, so anyway, you can't see Adam right now, but he's shrieking off camera.
He saw. He saw.
All right, so forgive my ignorance here. So since last time we were here, that was just after the loss versus Real Salt Lake.
Yes.
Correct.
Sad loss.
So it's 2 days later. 2 days after that,
Good
Sounders vanquished Vancouver.
But in between that, we had Lamar on.
Kept hopes.
No, that was 2 days after
Yeah,
Lamar. You
Salt Lake loss, Lamar, Vancouver win.
Vancouver
Our timeline's
win,
working out now.
and then that weekend was the loss in Philadelphia.
Oh,
We
So-
finally got the roller coaster.
Yeah, so that we've had a little bit of up and down for a minute here. I mean, I guess it's good. There's actually been decisions in Sounders games
Yeah.
as opposed to just draws,
yeah.
because that was the thing for a minute.
For a while, for like 2 months, it seemed like.
So
I'll take a point over
yeah,
zero,
so
though.
between August 23rd and September 16th,
But you'd rather
All
take
draws.
a win and a loss than 2 draws.
Also,
I would have rather had some draws in there, points at all.
Over multiple games, you'd rather
but
win
having
and lose,
one win
but
and
over
one loss
game.
rather
Out
than
between
two draws
the two
is one more
losses,
point.
the RSL and the Philly,
Math.
I
know
would
it.
prefer to have drawn
Math's
at least
important.
one
Kids,
of
stay
them.
in school.
Oh, yes.
Stay in school.
I don't have to.
Can she stop
I mean,
staring
I
at us?
want to not
Kind of creepy.
lose both.
Yeah, she is.
But if I had to
staring
pick, yes, I would still lose one.
We
and
might
take
need to
the draw.
consult John Locke to discuss the value.
Let's.
I
I,
didn't even
don't
get in
even
the
want to
picture.
go there.
at
So,
you. Well, I did, but you were looking there. So I didn't want
so there's a lot of things to talk about. Mark,
Focus on the
let's
on the
go.
preview.
Let's maybe go backwards because the loss sucks, and then we could go back from there to
to where it was better.
the Vancouver match.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff we can cover in the middle, but so October 1st, loss at Philly. Senators have yet to win the regular season in Philadelphia.
For real?
Yeah. It's
Ever?
3-2, something like that.
No.
2-3, depending on how you stack your
I will
stats.
say, after my first ever trip to the East Coast for work, I have a lot more admiration. Not admiration. I have more understanding of the difficulty for you to work on East Coast times zone when you're used to a West Coast time zone. Like, it was no joke. I couldn't fall
For
asleep
real.
till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wake up like 4 hours later at 6, right?
Well, stuff's still happening.
Yeah. My,
Can't go to
yeah.
bed.
You're for.
Dude, I don't know what drugs would help the athletes. At least the ones that have to wake up like in the morning for games. What time was that Philly game?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. our time.
Our time?
Here. Yeah. 1 o'clock your time.
That was a
Yeah.
bad time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the funny thing there. So for that weekend, Mark, you were supposed to go to Philly. Did anyone else go to Philly? Anyone go to Philly? No other Philly
He was
travelers.
Ugo was about 80 miles from
you
Philly.
were just down the way.
Yeah.
But Mark, you were supposed to go to Philly. So what happened?
The Cougs beat USC Friday night, and I celebrated a lot.
I mean, you would have celebrated without
loss.
that. Right?
We wouldn't have called it celebration. We would have just called it.
Standard operating
Was
procedure.
that the second time this season that you stormed the field?
Yes.
saying.
Win or lose, Cougs booze.
Oh,
You didn't even need the saying, but
No.
now that you have it, it makes it basically the same. So Emily, shout out to Emily. She and Larry went. They're in the chat room.
I was
What up,
supposed
Em?
I was supposed to hang out with them.
You were
I also had a friend take the train down from New York
to meet you.
to meet me.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Did you warn them ahead of time?
I was
or
gonna say, did
did
you
you
call-
forget
Yeah.
until they called
He-
you
It
and said,
would've been
hey, I'm
so
in
good if
Philly?
you
He
didn't-
called me about 5 times on Saturday. He was like, so did you make your flight? And I said, Nope. When I woke up at 11:30.
I have to ask for posterity's sake, did you know where your ticket was?
I did. I had both
Okay.
printed,
That's an improvement.
in color even.
It is. Wow. He's like, I put it on card stock. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I woke up in the morning and I was just like, there's no way I
So
can
you
fly
woke
cross
up,
country.
could have made it.
Could have made it. Totally.
Chose not to.
Yeah. I was not going to sit
Canceled your
hungover
flight
on the
Did
plane.
You eat your Airbnb.
I ate my Airbnb.
Ate your Airbnb.
oh my God.
Did it
dude.
taste good?
Are you crazy?
Didn't
was
go.
$75.
What
Man,
did
if I
you
would've
do?
known-
What did you do instead?
Well, I slept most of the day. What else did I do? Yeah. I think I went to Flat Stick. I know that would come as a shock to you.
Breaking.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Did you watch the game?
The Sounders game on Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I woke up,
Are you sure?
I woke up halfway through it. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
He watched half the game
Oh.
because he just said he woke up halfway through it because
Yeah.
it was a freaking 10 a.m. start. Boo, Don Garber and ESPN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was ESPN, right? Not Fox? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
ESPN because it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm glad I didn't go.
We're on FS1 this weekend, by the way. So if you miss your
Wow.
flight to CenturyLink
Wow.
Field,
Damn.
Mark, if you miss your flight to CenturyLink Field,
Are you
You
going to be
can,
able to make it?
you can
Is
watch
that a
on
drone
FS1.
joke?
That's
mean, it
your
is
mom's
now.
joke.
So
Thanks, Lickett.
we're starting off on a high note here.
No question.
Mocking Mark is always a high note.
Yeah, I don't know if I even can get into like a recap on this.
People know the
Totally.
games that happened.
Yeah,
It was shitty.
Philly sucked.
It just
Oh, you know what, though? Real quick, we asked Brian Schmetzer about it on Friday when I managed
Yeah.
to skip some practice or skip some work. Shit.
Shit.
Go buy a lot of beer, people, so I can sell more beer and get in less trouble for missing games. Or missing sales. So my point was somebody
On
asked
that note,
Yeah.
Brian Schmetzer about what the plan was. And he goes, well, our plan was to grind in that first half, get away with it, and then insert some attack. Basically, the plan was Clint Dempsey is going to be Clint motherfucking Dempsey, but we only have him for 30 minutes.
damn.
That's kind of what Schmetz had said without saying it. And they nearly pulled it off. They just had that funk-ass goal. And that destroyed the plan, because in soccer, where you have less than 3 goals scored a game, 1 goal is a huge deal. So
It's
the plan
huge.
was to grind. The plan was also to, like Christian said, that half of his problem was pain, and the other half was the weight of the cast that he had that day. And because of travel and midweek game, they didn't have a full practice session where he practiced with that. So the only time that he had full speed was basically warm-ups. So that combination of factors just led
Plus
to
the
a
East
first
Coast
half
time.
that was bleh. Yeah, plus,
East Coast.
as Ugo and other Seahawks fans know, East Coast 10 a.m. games should be banned
Yeah, seriously.
forever.
Yeah,
I don't
for all
I
sports.
genuinely don't understand it, and it has been just a handful of times that at least Sounders have experienced it. But it's just dumb. Like, we're not the NFL; it's a different thing.
Well, even in the
Even
NFL,
in NFL, dude. Like I used to.
the
I
Seahawks
used
have
to-
like 1 win in 7 years at 10 a.m.
I used to be the hardcore. Like you guys are professionals. Come on, get your act together. It's just 3 hours difference. You get paid a lot of money to do this. I used to be that guy. Then I went to work for a whole week, and I was like, fuck this shit. That shit's hella hard. I have a hard time waking up with just 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I have a hard time going to sleep in my regular sleep time because it's 3 hours. No, it is hard. Your body too, like even when I did get some like 5.5 hours and I was somewhat rested, my body was just like, it felt sick. You know, like when you get
and it's not just a Seahawks thing.
No.
It's also a Chargers, 49ers, Raiders thing as well. And they've, the leagues with many games in a week, like the NBA, NHL, MLB, they still avoid. I mean, it's not like they put a 1 o'clock start, the businessman's special after a travel day.
Yeah, it's just
they give you a
not
full
thing.
day when you travel.
And even when, heck, on Martin Luther King Day, the Knicks play in the middle of the day. A lot of times they'll play an East Coast or a Central team, like a team that it's not from the other side of the country.
They don't
for
do a
that
Pacific
exact
time
reason.
zone, yeah.
Even if you just wanted to say, I wanted to avoid crappy TV ratings, you would do it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Better soccer is better TV ratings.
Yeah, I don't get it. It is what it is at this point. Thankfully, it's once here, once
The
there.
only other 10 a.m. start they could wind up having is if they make MLS Cup, and we'll fucking deal with it then.
woo.
Wasn't it 1 o'clock Pacific?
It wasn't horrible. But if they said,
Yeah.
hey, you're an MLS Cup West Coast team,
Right.
you know what? You get over there a week early.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
get
not a big
acclimated.
deal.
Right. Well, and with the
And to be honest, if they made MLS Cup and they only got there a day early, I'd be happy because fuck it, getting
'Cause
back to
MLS
MLS
Cup-
Cup would be fine.
you'd be okay with making MLS Cup.
It'd be okay.
So Sounders have 47 points coming out of that game. The goal differential's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not as ridiculous as some of the bad teams.
It's a little bit of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type, like they have good moments and they have bad moments. And I just really hope that these last 2 games we finish strong going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it just it's a long enough gap in between the games where there's probably not hangover. You've moved on.
Yeah.
Let's hope, Deuce comes back in one piece,
Please.
and in a happy mood from it, and so on. It's long enough away though that I don't think there's any hangover from having yet another shitty game versus less than average team.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there are 7 international call-ups, right? 7 dudes weren't there. So Friday's practice, Brian Schmetzer said we had 11 and a half guys.
Wow.
Because
Who's the half?
Jimmy Traore, he had to join because they did a drill that had 3
Oh, I
groups
thought you were
of
going to say
4.
we signed Facito again.
Wow,
And then Fry was off.
that was relatively
Fry was
funny.
the only referee
Yeah,
because,
that was a good
or
mark.
the
Good
only
job.
keeper because S2 was on the road.
Yeah.
And so they did have 2
In
S2
Spanish,
guys,
it's
Sam
una
Rogers,
vez al
Dave
año,
Olson,
once a year.
were both at practice.
No hace daño, does
so
no harm.
when you drop
Once a year
them
does no
out
harm,
and you
but
drop
Spanish
the
rhymes.
academy graduate who was there off, all of a sudden you're like, oh, they actually just had 8.5 first-team players
That's crazy, man.
at practice. And that's true right now, too.
Right.
Ozzy's in recovery phase because his, was it groin or quad? I forget what it wound up being. But his minor injury that he should be fine by the playoffs. Christian's playing through a broken arm.
Like a boss.
Playing video games though, so
That's good for his
Hanging out with
forearm.
Jordan.
yeah, shocking.
The simplest question ever. Everybody laughs immediately. Somebody asked him, so where are you watching the U.S. national team game on Friday? He goes, with Jordan. And we all, like, Schmetzer's watching us, the PR guy, the 3 media people, and Christian immediately just laugh. Where are you watching the game? With Jordan. It's like, why would we ask? Never ask a question you don't know the answer to, the lawyer advice. Yeah. Where are you... Who are you watching such and such with will always be with Jordan, right?
Is the U.S. in now? Is it official?
No.
Not yet.
If they lose by like 19 goals,
Oh. Period.
yeah, there's some weird like goal differential stuff that can happen if they draw. If they win, they're in. If they draw
Some crazy random
and
scores.
other results are wacky. But who was it in? There was one Euros group where somebody said so and so won't beat Luxembourg by 8, so we're in.
Yeah.
And so and so beat Luxembourg by 8.
Wow.
And so now I think it's Portugal. The only way Portugal can get in is if they win their next game by like 7 goals.
Wait,
Look
what?
up the UEFA qualifying.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Portugal's
It's
not going to
Sweden.
make the World
Yeah.
Cup?
Gustav Svensson's Sweden will qualify for the UEFA playoffs unless Portugal beats them by 7. Because they just crushed Luxembourg.
They beat Andorra
Oh, is it Andorra?
8-0.
8-0. Andorra got beat 8-0.
Wow.
Sorry, I forgot my micro-states of Europe. We should see. Let's see if Gustav played.
Did y'all see the Egypt
Yeah.
qualifying video? That
The
was
video
nuts.
that like some dude grabbed and stole and pretended to be like his
Somebody's daughter, his
father or
dad.
whatever,
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "Yeah, that's actually so and so's," and he's like, "No, this is the best thing in our lives ever." That was pretty awesome.
Dude, it was the best thing in your life ever, and you didn't need to steal the video
Seriously,
to prove it. Yeah.
Like, not only was it good for you, but it was good for that other person's family member that you just ganked on the internet. So, whatever.
What was really cool is Massive Report. They cover the crew for SB Nation. One of their writers is Egyptian. And so
Wow,
he's
that's
like
super cool.
Thrilled. He and I connected obviously because I love Justin Miram
Yeah.
and he talks to Justin Miram in Arabic, and so he's like, I wore my Egypt jersey to work today, and I'm like, that is so awesome.
So,
No, it was Luxembourg. World Cup at Sweden-Luxembourg.
Sweden was Luxembourg.
Sweden beat Luxembourg 8-0.
I was talking about Portugal.
And so Portugal has to win by some ungodly amount in order to qualify. There's a dude that scored 4 goals and still got pulled in the 74th minute.
Yeah. John.
Gustav did not play.
Also, what was the other
So
game?
he
There was
doubled up
another.
on did not play.
What was? Oh, Costa Rica was the crazy finish.
Costa Rica qualified,
95th.
95th minute,
That
Brian
was a
Ruiz.
crazy goal. Yeah. Was it an MLS player who scored?
No, you know Brian Ruiz because I think he used to play for Arsenal and
Oh.
AZ Alkmaar with Josie Altidore. So he's been on a lot of teams that you know of and follow. He's a Premier League player. Like, he's one of CONCACAF's like top 10 based off of where like resumes.
Wow.
Quality player.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe
So
he should go
he-
to MLS.
He has been regularly connected to MLS.
Yeah.
High price, but he'd score goals.
Yeah.
So
let's bring him on.
if Portugal beats the Swiss tomorrow, they're in. The Swiss can qualify with a draw.
I like Swiss cheese. I do. It's tasty.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was 2-0 versus
Gustav
Yeah.
Svensson
But I
got to
still like
watch
Swiss cheese.
Sweden put up 8 against a microstate.
a big spot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of goals.
Somehow,
Yo, y'all with the
I have to find a way to get to practice because O'Neill Fisher did not have World Cup qualifying because Jamaica, after winning the Gold Cup, didn't qualify for the Hex.
what?
Remember when they won the Gold Cup? Not the most recent one, but the one prior to that. And now they don't even qualify for the Hex. So Jamaica had to do a friendly during this international break. The only people they could get a friendly with, Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
So O'Neill Fisher, he's got some freaking flyer miles now.
Yeah, he does.
Because he flew Seattle to Riyadh.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a bit of a flight.
For a friendly?
He actually made the flight, too, from what we heard.
Yeah, he-
So,
Oh.
Wonder what that's like.
yeah, exactly.
Cool out, 'cause
like,
it's
I don't know.
getting hot.
Wait, he got on the plane.
So out of
He went to
sat
the
down-
airport?
Yeah, no, he put his seatbelt on, allegedly, and flew to Riyadh. And then he played in a soccer game, or at least was in attendance. I'm not sure that he played.
I'm looking that up.
But, yeah, and then he flew back.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow,
impressive.
stupid.
Anyway,
You know it's a low quality friendly when Soccerway doesn't even mention it as a
Wow.
game.
so,
We're all over the place today, aren't
Oh,
we,
yeah,
Tom?
but before we go somewhere else,
yeah.
Where are we going?
tomorrow, the one game that I really want to watch is Peru versus Colombia. There's so many.
Oh, the
births.
winner's in.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
it would be the first
cascading
time.
effect.
The first time that Peru would
Peru's
be
never
in
made it,
since
right?
1982. I was barely born. You weren't even born yet. Dude.
I wasn't even born yet. Tom was already in high school.
He was graduating from
He was
Rutgers.
graduating from Rutgers.
Anyway, so I'm just
Saw
going to
that
make
coming.
the executive decision that we're going to continue to go backwards from
Mark missing his flight.
Sunday morning, and then we're going to come back to the shitty part of Sunday evening later.
Okay.
What was the
Because that's part of the reason that we weren't here last
Yeah.
week. But that's another story. So
Cougs won.
lost
Swiss,
lost to Philly.
John.
Cougs won.
Swiss.
Really disheartening, honestly,
Yeah, it was, dude.
when you start to look at how the league's shaking up right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Shaping up right now. Everybody in the East is already in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and especially
There's
after,
one East Conference playoff spot. Oh no,
No, they're
I'm
all
sorry.
They're all in the playoffs.
New York Red Bull
Especially
qualified
after-
over the
Yeah.
international
and
break.
especially after the way we played in the middle of the week, right?
It's
we played so badass.
So unfortunate.
Like,
And 3 of the 6 teams in the East already have more points than the Sounders
Yeah.
can earn
so
through the rest of the season.
Sounders, I believe, could only play the bottom 3 teams were they to host MLS Cup.
And if the Fire draw even once in their final 2 games, even with the Sounders winning out,
Doesn't
the
matter.
Fire would still host.
Right.
And they're 4th.
So
And if Columbus gets a win, both of theirs are on the road. It's
there's like 2 chances, basically. And that's if the Sounders win out.
Bulls.
Yeah, seriously, like you want the Red Bulls to just womp
Yes,
on the
yes.
East. Anyway, so the East has made the playoffs. The only club in the West to have made the playoffs so far is Vancouver. To date.
Sporting Kansas City can qualify for the playoffs on Wednesday.
Wednesday, right? Yeah.
All they need is a win or a tie versus the Houston Dynamo. With a win, the Seattle Sounders would be in the playoffs for the 9th straight time and would own the longest active streak and second longest streak in MLS history
get some.
for playoff
Get
qualification.
some.
Is
yes.
that good?
Seems
Whoever was
good.
Knocking on wherever. Yes, let's go.
Knocking
No, we're
on,
talking.
knocking
We're
on.
giving it love.
So let's
Painted
dig
wood.
into Wednesday. So
Wednesday.
Vancouver took a beating.
Beating.
Like we could have sang "Beat on the Caps" for 90 minutes,
With
and
a
it
baseball
would have
bat?
been accurate
Yeah.
in a really kind
That
of
was
scary
probably
way.
the best game in the last 2 months. At easy. I can't think of a better game.
Well, because the month prior was 5 draws.
Yeah.
And it was amazing before dude took a red card off VAR in the
Yeah.
93rd or 94th, whenever they actually called that. So that was pretty amazing.
Heck yeah.
Like a third of the shots were from Clint Dempsey.
Dude was on fire. We need to
Dude
get that
wants
too.
it.
Yes.
Big time.
Yes. Especially without Jordan, you know that he's like,
Oh.
okay, I got to carry this team.
A
now.
reminder about Clint Dempsey. Clint Dempsey has never won an MLS Cup while he's been on the field. His only MLS Cup win was he was up in the press box
Yeah.
in the suite watching. He has 2 other appearances, both were losses. Dude's a little bit motivated. He finds motivation in those kinds of things, like
Oh, yeah.
sitting on 57 goals tied with Landon Donovan.
And you could tell. I mean,
That
he's,
thing.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
taking up a notch both on the national team and with us here at the league. And especially without Jordan, he knows that he's our guy, clear cut.
So we had 2 games where there was just some lineup
Deuce.
playing happening
Take care of business.
as far as players were where they were specifically on the field.
Right.
How do we feel about Deuce where Deuce has been recently? 'Cause
When
it
he was
looks-
up top for Vancouver?
I think that was interesting. I do think that the withdrawn Dempsey.
Yeah, the false 9,
Yeah.
Clint Dempsey.
I think there's
as
something to that.
Vancouver, not because as a sub, he was on there with Will for a while.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, in the
I think
Philly
that's
win.
what it was.
So you're
Yeah.
saying
Or
you like
lost?
seeing him up
Lost.
top? Is that what you're saying? You like seeing him up top?
Well,
Yep.
because there's no one else. Like,
Right.
But
remember
it
when Will
actually
Bruin
seemed
was
like it
scoring
played
goals
well.
and was like, "Hey, that's
Yeah.
neat." And
Like
now
2
it's
months
like,
ago.
Oh, Will Bruin's on a Jordan Morris phase.
He didn't feel like he was in, and I know we talked about this, and it may not be, it's perception more than reality, perhaps, but the Dempsey and Ladero seem like they're in the same space thing didn't seem to be as much of an issue with him in that false nine.
Yeah, part of how they made that not an issue, too, was by pushing Nico and VIII wide more frequently. And then underneath was a lot of Christian rolled on, running free, early pressure, and secondary runs. I think he would have worked there against the Union, except his speed, even if, speed is at this level is such a thing where getting reduced by even 5% is enough to go from being having that step. Like, that through ball was so beautiful, and you're like, oh, okay, you're not going to get there.
Yeah, not even close.
And one more step.
Yeah.
It was just one step
We
more.
get
than you
VIII
needed
back,
on
right?
like a 40-yard
Saturday, VIII's back, right?
VIII will be back. Yeah, he was back in Barcelona. Because his wife was giving birth. And so they gave him about a 8, 9, 10-day stretch thanks to the international break. Skipping one game and the international break basically meant the world for him and his family.
Yeah, good on them.
And as SonarFeed is a big fan of one game versus the world, be the world, man.
For real.
See your family, see your friends. That's we skip shows when we're not here, and we understand the need to do that for soccer too. I mean, yeah, dude making $1 million, but seeing a child born
You don't get too many
that
chances
you
to do
already
that.
live 8,000 miles away from.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Do that, bro.
Damn, he makes $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Didn't
salaries.
you see the
came
salaries?
out.
We didn't
Salaries
talk
came
about
out.
that. Yeah.
Sounders have 5 dudes making over $1 million.
Who? Dempsey, Jordan.
Nico. No.
Nico.
Dempsey, Nico, Alonso, Rodriguez. That's their 4 that are over $1 million. Then they also have TAM player Ramon Torres. TAM. He would be at Gustav Svensson's making about $850, but the Sounders are only paying him about $180. Hooray, China!
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, China.
Because he had a guaranteed contract there, so they have to pay him his whole contract. I'm missing. There's 6 dudes that are over the cap.
So
What about Jordan?
Deuce, Ladero,
No Jordan over $1 million?
No.
Alonso,
Those are the 3
That's
over $1
shocking.
million.
Rodriguez.
Or 4 over $1 million.
That's it.
And then Torres is over
Torres
the
is
DP
correct. He's
limit.
550.
Leardom is over the
508, and
And-
Leardham's 455.
Leardom's at 455, which is also over.
And I got to tell
the
you,
max.
totally worth it.
Yeah, I have reason to believe that Leardom has some non-salary compensation to get his cap hit number up
Yeah.
around 700 or
What
750.
does that mean? Cap salary, non.
Their non-salary compensation might be like car, living expenses for a friend, living expenses for yourself. If the team has every MLS team has a living expenses budget, and they get to distribute it how it is, and anything compensated above that is non-salary compensation that does hit the salary cap.
Oh.
So most teams give their living expenses budget to the dudes making the minimum or the veteran minimum. So like Facito went, he had told me that he got a significant living expenses budget when he was in San Jose. Because if you're living in the Bay Area he was at 70, just over the minimum. You can't live in the Bay Area on 70 grand.
Well, and he couldn't afford like his Silver Oak Wine Club membership and stuff. So
It wouldn't surprise me. The Harvard golf coach.
Is he really the coach now at Harvard? The golf?
Hugo's missed a couple shows. Yeah, he is the assistant coach
have you guys met Uga?
Wow. Wow.
at the Harvard men's golf assistant coach.
Ballin'.
And he is a
So I sat next
golf
to the Harvard
pro.
golf coach.
At like one of the course where Tom Brady is a member. It's one of those quality. Well, I only bring that up because we all know who he is, and
Who's
Yeah.
Tom Brady?
That's crazy. Like
He
professional
wants to go
soccer
pro.
player
Yeah, like which part?
to like being a top level golf
so yeah, they're
coach. Damn.
to review. Those are non-salary living expenses, like our non-salary cap expenses. Mauro Rosales had a ton of those when he was here. He had a free car, free house. Like his salary cap when the release was out was like $200,000, even while he was a DP. And you're like, how is he a DP with $200,000?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, because he's driving this car, he's living here, he's at it. There's a bunch of, and if the
Otherwise-
team arranges, there are certain sponsor
the
deals,
advertising deals.
there are sponsorship deals that if the team arranges, it's a salary cap hit, but if the league arranges, it's not.
Yeah.
And so,
He had the like TV deal, like he was doing TV commercials.
yeah, that was about a part of his car deal, I believe. He was with Ford.
Did you
I
tell
think.
Jeremiah he's got a spelling error
In our
article?
chart?
Yeah.
All right. I'll yell at Jeremiah
Spelled
just as soon as I
Garrett.
write more than one story a week.
Guaranteed spelled that wrong. Anyway,
Oh, I never... Guaranteed is one of those words that I can never get right.
double T.
Oh,
I got
that's
nothing.
not it. It's the U and the A in
Yeah.
the beginning.
So
Playoffs.
a number of things
Playoffs.
happened. A number of things happened in that game. So dirty Yordi Reyna, who has already had a couple of moments this season. Tony Chani, who's now it's
Oh, Vancouver.
twice.
We're back to the Vancouver game.
Twice he's been booted this season versus Sounders, if I'm recalling correctly. In a weird way, Alonso getting a card and then being hurt. It kind of had like everything you wanted from a Cascadia match on all sides. It's like, oh, a bunch of their players took cards and or got tossed. Freddie Montero did nothing.
Nothing.
Nada.
Got hit in the
That's
face.
highly unusual for a Cascadia Cup match.
he did
Let's
get
be
hit.
honest.
He
Freddie
did.
Montero and Cascadia
Right,
Cup
but
normally
now that's what
rocks.
you want.
Yeah, but he has like 6 goals this
Right.
year.
He got hit in the face with that ball. I'm waiting for Fry
¿Qué pasa,
to
mano?
just.
¿Qué pasa?
Fry is just gonna boot a ball at someone that is annoying him. One of these days,
He needs to do it because that dude will get a yellow.
he gets a yellow, right? So that happened, and I
They
would say
stayed
like
alive in the Cascadia Cup hunt.
Right,
Are
thank
we really?
goodness. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
What are
Yeah.
the results needed?
Win and a
Well, nothing more for Seattle.
Vancouver win or draw.
Vancouver win or draw.
I think
the
it's
Seattle
win or
Sound-
draw, and I
I'll
think
look
the
it up.
only trick is if it depends on how many goals they score.
in a draw.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be able to win it, though.
No, they can win it.
Oh, you can totally win.
Portland and Vancouver.
We're done. They have this one.
There's
in.
nothing
so,
like backing
so
into a
we've,
trophy.
We've won, which is what we needed, and they
so
have
tough.
to draw or Vancouver win.
A draw,
And then what
the
happens?
Portland Timbers would tie the Seattle Sounders on points, and then it'd go down to record between the two, which is also
Which is us.
which would be which
So a
would be
draw.
Seattle.
We're looking for a draw.
So a draw actually is a win. If Portland wins, they take
They
it.
win. Yeah.
Vancouver wins,
We win.
Seattle takes it. So there are no complicated tiebreakers.
Correct.
It's
what I'm talking about.
root for Vancouver in their match
the White Caps.
October 22nd, the final game of the regular
Rooting
season.
for the White
as
Caps.
you're watching the
You
Colorado
was rooting
Rapids
for the
here.
White Caps.
That's the decision day thing, so all the Western Conference games are at the exact same time. So there we, yeah.
So that was easy.
So the second least important trophy that the Sounders
I was
can
really
win
happy
in a given
about
year.
hearing that news.
We all know what the first least important is, right?
Heritage Cup.
Yep.
Wait.
It is not the
What is that?
Heritage Cup.
That's
What's
the
the Heritage?
that's the least important trophy of the year.
well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
By
we just
far.
said.
Yeah.
You know what? In between the Cascadia Cup and the Heritage Cup might be USL trophies.
There are.
Desert
Maybe
Diamond
some
Cup.
preseason.
Desert Diamond
Yeah.
Cup.
Seriously. Desert Diamond Cup is above Heritage
That is
Cup.
not a thing. That is not exist.
That is definitely
No,
a
because
thing.
it's an invitational.
It's
No invitationals are ever more important than.
It's
Then the
the
Heritage
Heritage
Cup?
Cup.
But is there really a cup? Or
But
is
you
the
actually
Desert
care
Sun?
about it
Yeah.
as opposed to the Heritage Cup, which San Jose
No,
cares
my
about.
man. That's crazy.
No,
I
no,
will
no,
that would be
always
like
say
if Ugo just started like calling something a trophy, and it was like if he went to a coffee shop 5 days a week.
That's literally what the
he
Desert
got
Diamond
the
Cup
trophy, and the
This is
store was
the
like,
mac and
"We don't
cheese
really
trophy.
care."
We should call it the In-N-Out Trophy because let's be honest, we always go to In-N-Out after
We
an away
do.
match there.
We do, and someone asks you.
I strongly
if you
recommend
can get interviewed
if you
for their
can
pod.
If you can get the Heritage Cup for your holiday celebration, it holds like a bowl of Skittles, gummy bears, M&Ms so very well because
So
I've done
tweet
that.
Jerry.
Have you've actually held a cup?
I had the Heritage Cup in my house for about 3 weeks once.
And
Yeah.
nobody knew.
Well, because I had to bring it to the end of year business meeting in 2011 when there were 3 U.S. Open Cups, a Cascadia Cup, and a Heritage Cup. So we had every trophy that the MLS team had won. We wanted 100% representation. So I had to track down who in the Seattle area was
Had the
hosting
fucking
it.
thing.
Because
Does Roman really like the Heritage Cup?
what's that?
Does Roman really like the
He
Heritage Cup?
apparently liked the Heritage Cup.
They
gave it to him.
He likes trophies.
yeah. Again,
Let's be honest.
if you're playing
if
one
you're a
hardware,
player gets handed a trophy, you know what the reaction is going to be? Oh, that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. With your own face.
do not get a tattoo of the Heritage Cup.
Please.
Or an eyeball tattoo.
Mark,
He
do
Torres,
not do it.
Torres is going to be selling a T-shirt with him holding the Heritage Cup.
And again, that would be more interesting
then the actual.
than the Heritage Cup.
It's such a great idea.
So-
and so horribly executed.
So do we want to talk about? So we've been rolling about 40 minutes.
really?
Do we want to talk about non-sports for a minute?
Sure.
Let's go there. Let's go there.
Non-sports are why there wasn't a SonarFeed
So
last
we
week.
didn't have SonarFeed last week. There were a couple of folks that already had some things going on. So, but we still could have pulled the show together. And we were talking, and we decided in the morning on Monday.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was a rough morning, though,
We
right?
just kind of called
It
it.
was heavy.
And whether you were awake for it or not, I went to bed early and was not paying attention on Sunday night.
I was.
And I woke up at about 2, and I sleep with the talk radio on, and it said KUOW. And I wake up to live coverage from Las Vegas.
Hold on. You go to sleep with the radio on?
Yeah, I just stream the radio, and I go. It's like I just need white noise.
Something noise. In the,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I started doing it in like the 80s,
That's crazy, dude. I could not fall
right around
asleep.
when Mark was born.
If I hear like ocean waves, I could do it. But
It's
like
the same deal.
Right,
but
right.
I think I osmosis information while I'm sleeping. It probably makes me sleep terribly, but at this point, it's force of habit. And like, I will be in foreign countries and be like, let's find the sports talk radio station here in Nice. And there totally is one. And their team is awful. But you can hear them talk about like AS Monaco and stuff, and it's really interesting in French. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
see
I
that
sort
it
of
was
understand this, but
69 degrees the other day in Nice?
Nice.
nice. We all did see that it was
nice
Nice.
and nice.
So Sunday happened in Las Vegas, and we don't need to get in the weeds on this, or we could, but we all just kind of decided, like, you know what, we don't really feel like talking about soccer right now, and we haven't taken a ton of shows off. We've probably taken more off in the last 6-8 months than we had previously.
Right.
For various reasons, but I think we've had a lot of like other commitments, and
Right.
Ugo, you've been doing a lot of stuff
Right. Community
socially,
engagement. Yep.
and like that stuff's important. Kind of like we talked about a second ago, what Dave was chatting on with V-Rod, Vader,
V8.
going with Vader. Anyway, so like 4 people
Shoulda had a
got that,
V8.
which is so good.
All of our 10X listeners.
And I
4
think
people.
to me the thing, and I was
technically
kind of
I'm
going
there.
back and forth. I'm like, you know what, guys, whatever the group decides, it's cool. Like no
Yeah.
show or show. I wanted to do show just because I like committing to doing the show. But I think it was the first time that I can remember that we genuinely were like, we don't want to talk about sports right now.
Although-
Not interesting.
Yeah, some of it too is that we generally need 3 of the 5
Yes.
of us that are on the camera and microphone side.
Yeah, John, me too, man.
And once you drop 2 for like, I think we dropped 3 for life reasons. Weigel had,
Civic Hour.
Civic Hour, yeah.
Civics Happy
Also
Hour
more
down in
important
Tacoma.
than SonarFeed.
For lots of reasons. Ugo had stuff. I had, my wife likes to see me some Mondays. And so then we were basically down to Mark and Tom.
And you know what that would be like.
Yeah, and then
Mark would look just like this for 90 minutes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He'd be like this. For 90 minutes. Just waving every time Katie came out
No,
for another
and-
beer.
Yeah.
You would be so drunk.
I
Anyway.
stayed up that night for it, man, and
Sunday night.
and yeah, and I saw the videos, you know, and I was just tripping out, like scary stuff. And I try to, retweet and share stuff because that was happening late.
Yeah.
And then I just remember it was just a heavy, it was like crazy, man. I was like, what the hell is going on? And once they kind of said that it was over and they were investigating, but for the most part, the announcement was out that at least one guy was killed or stopped. Then I went to sleep, but I woke up and I was like, man, it was all over the news. I was like on my way to work. And I don't know, man, it just kind of, it was heavy. It took me out of it. And I think that was before the whole Tom Petty.
That was Monday. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Monday was already bad.
Yeah, it was horrible, dude. Horrible.
And we could debate this for the rest of the night about Las Vegas and points fourth. I don't even know if we need to get into it. Needless to say, we pulled the plug on that day and just decided to move on. It just continued.
Yeah,
it
it
seems like
snowballed.
since then. So it's like, and this is where you look at sports as sort of your escape from things. And I know for ECS, something that Heather and I and a number of other people like to say is like, look, you can support whatever political thing you want to do or be anti this person or pro this thing or whatever, and that's great. But as a group, we're attempting to like escape for a minute. And I got to tell you, it's getting really, really, really hard to escape in a lot of other ways. Mm-hmm. And that for me, it's not that it's easier to do that and just like kind of kill it for 90 minutes, which felt really good that Wednesday prior versus Vancouver. This was one of the first times that not having a game to me was a huge downer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care one way or the other. A lot of times during international breaks, like, you watch the games if I can, but I'm not like super hype over it. I was like, oh, a week off, this is going to be great. Oh, that's right. Then there's a whole nother week off after that and so on. And I could just pick up games here or there and watch some international stuff over the week. And then Monday happens, and you're paying attention to the Vegas thing. And then we get to midday. Everybody thinks Tom Petty's dead. And then you get to the evening our time, or early evening our time, and they finally come out and say that Tom Petty's dead. And again, like, you can't talk about things being bigger or smaller than one another. But at that point, I'm just like, wow. Like, I grew up in a music world where Tom Petty, like, you had 50 artists that you might know in any given day, not the 5,000 that a lot of us are familiar with. Yeah. And watching Tom Petty in rotation on MTV was a pretty big thing. Like, I could probably name 10 music videos. Yeah, it's weird, right?
Right.
So, but anyway, like, then it's Monday, and then this happens. And you're like, dude, can this week improve, please?
Fuck last Monday.
Yeah, it was just not awesome.
I'm not.
I was listening to a sports radio station talking about Tom Petty, and the interview subject was like, no, it was Danny O'Neill actually on 97.3 on actually the news talk station, but they had so many people sick that Danny O'Neill from 710 ESPN was on. He goes, people need to understand, no one is ever going to remember you if you broke the so-and-so is dead story unless you were wrong. And the people with the Tom Petty thing,
what a major
we're
fuck
both
up.
kind of wrong and kind of right at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, he was on a DNR and would not recover in any way, shape, or form.
And I think it's also because of what happened the night before that made it worse, though, right?
Like, report it like that. Just say,
well, and the worst is
he's on a
TMZ is
DNR.
actually usually right.
Yeah.
And this time they were not, among others. And it just got weird. And then the worst part about that is, then it's like, oh, he's not dead. Oh,
There's hope.
There's hope. Exactly. Like,
There was
there's
never
hope, and
hope.
there's this. And then all of a sudden it's, 5 o'clock or 5:30, whatever it was, Pacific. And it was like, oh, downer again.
If you ever work in media, let the family be the people who decide when to make that announcement.
It's just not. It's not worth it. And this is where, for one, serious about being serious. Second, it's like, this is where you're just rushing to rush.
Yeah.
And not for any real value, except it was like, That was my joke I was making tonight about the. This is way too lighthearted to go to what we were talking about going to, but to the episode 8 trailer that came out, and it was like 7 p.m. Pacific or whatever it came out, and at 7:20 there's already like YouTube reaction videos, and that's literally people doing it just to get first in search results. You didn't have time to digest. I mean, again, not that someone couldn't be an expert and like break it down in 10 minutes.
But tomorrow
like,
morning, if you give me an hour and 20-minute breakdown of that 2-minute, 30-second video, I'm watching the whole thing.
yeah, but like you at 7:20, you broke that out. Ooh, like you did it just to be first in search results, and like to criticize everyone. And I think we've all been guilty of this at some point. You're like, oh, I just saw this thing, I'm gonna post it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to like be in front of that fire pit and something happens and you take a picture and you post it and you're first because you happen to be. It's another to like be first just for the sake of being first.
Speaking
and
of the
that's
fire
like
pit,
the place we're at right now.
we're out on the back patio at the Berliner Pub, 3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Amazing
Ahead of-
mac
ahead
and
of the
cheese.
curve.
Ahead of the curve. Amazing mac and
They
cheese.
put, the outdoors is
Instead of ice
covered
out.
now, and the fire's going. And I actually had to take off my hoodie. 'Cause
It's actually pretty
it's
nice out.
kind of warm out
Yeah,
here.
I could do this
So come on down for
temperature
the fall. We love
all
a
day.
live audience. We've got, well, we're going to call it 4.5 people because there was
4+.
If you're inside,
There's somebody here and he's
come
not here.
outside.
Yeah.
And Adam's here.
Yeah, bookworm. If you're
Yeah.
inside,
Come outside.
come outside.
So, you know,
So anyway,
I will say, I wanted to get perspective. At least, actually, Adam, let me get your thoughts on Tom and that because I know you're a big music
Ooh.
guy. I'm not it. I'll admit it. I'm not big. I didn't know much about Tom, but I know he's popular and super big. But I know you're a big person. Like, you have a big collection of records, and music is a big part of what you do. It's probably why you even got into the field that you're in somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I always have a hard time just whenever any artist dies, especially those who are a little bit older. Harder in a way that I don't think most people do because it's such a part of life. Death is that at this point in his life, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I hadn't been following his health, but it was like, you know what? Fuck. But we're going to see more. We're going to see, and it's tough. I mean, we're seeing some of the greats that we all grew up with or were born while everybody else was growing up with. And they're all going. I mean, last year we lost how many greats?
Way
too many.
Too many.
And it's probably too many
it's
every
just-
year if you're being serious
yes,
with yourself. But
right.
I
for,
would say
for
from
Gen
like,
Xers, we're
Yeah,
losing. We're at that point where we're losing the musicians and artists that we grew up with.
Exactly.
yeah, and it's the people that were 10-20% of all the
We're
songs
also-
you
yeah,
know.
that.
Right.
all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still quite a few greats that are still alive, and I mean, I think about my grandma literally just turned 99 yesterday or today. Anyway,
Birthday, grandma.
right, like she's lived a great life. I know she's going to go soon, and it's going to be tough. I'm going to be extremely sad for a while, but man, we're all getting older, and that's not to be insensitive, but that's where things are going, man. We're going to see our heroes fade like this, and it's just tough.
No. Thanks, man. I think you nailed it. You captured that. I'm glad I got your thoughts on it.
It was absolutely one of the best concerts I've ever been to when I saw him in 2008 at the Gorge.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't need to get on a plane.
I didn't need to get on a plane.
I mean, you could have.
In theory, yeah.
Ooh, you
Like
know what?
A crop duster from Spokane
Oh, you were in Spokane at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have flown to the
sorry.
Yeah.
to George.
Yeah.
To Yakima.
Probably Yakima and then drove.
Or
Yeah.
Moses Lake.
Well, Yakima's closer to George than Moses Lake is.
Speaking of Moses
Are you
Lake,
serious right now?
Just let it go. Let it go.
Let it go. Let
Nice.
it go.
Moses Lake is. It's in that. Have you seen that Seven Eves book? It's actually really good. It was on
Neil
the
Stephenson?
Obama reading
Issaquah's
list.
finest?
Yeah.
Like, literally, he
yeah.
lives in Issaquah.
Yeah, Moses Lake is
I have his signed
a
book.
major site in that book.
I have that sitting at home to read
read
right
it.
after I finish up
It's really
Treasure
good.
Island.
It's like without giving up everything, it had one of the biggest like you get to a point where you turn the chapter and a significant period of time has passed between the previous page you were reading, and it's not like 18 months.
I read a lot of Neil Stephenson,
Yeah.
so I'm used to it. Like,
And you're like, oh,
he's the Dickens of science fiction. It's
it's pretty.
If I recall correctly, didn't the Enola Gay take off from Moses Lake?
I think a number of things have taken off from Moses Lake. Not Lake Moses, as people outside of the region would like to say.
This just reminded me.
Well,
So
Yep.
last weekend I was over in Yakima. Managed to make it to
Yakima?
Bellbreaker for
Nice.
their
How was
Fresh Hop
Yakima?
Festival.
Did
And
you
What
have
festival?
I did.
all of the IPA of all time?
I did watch
yeah.
the
Beers.
Loss with the Dry
Different hops
Ciders,
and-
Yeah.
which
We did.
was a blast.
You were recovering
And then
from
went
hangover.
to
Yeah.
Tieton for
Yeah.
cider and played some bocce, and
Should've
then
gone,
went to
dude, but I didn't-
Bellbreaker.
So that was my first business trip.
Excellent weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right.
So-
other opportunity.
Yeah, I hope so.
So we had a really unfortunate Sunday,
Monday.
an equally unfortunate Monday. And not just on Tom Petty, just because it kept unfolding, and I think it compounded throughout the week. And since then, we've had a whole lot of discussion about kneeling and standing and teams doing different things in the NFL and other sports doing other things
Yeah.
and politics in sports and no politics in sports and blah, blah, blah ad infinitum. And I really liked that the last time that we had a show, we got to at least broach this topic for a minute with Lamar.
That was a great show, by the way, guys. Like, you guys fucking killed it. Sorry.
And
That
shout out
was
to
awesome.
Dave.
Shout
well
out to
done,
Dave.
sir.
Yeah. That was just great.
It was really good, and on one hand, I like that we got to address it when it was a little bit of a calm moment, because since then, like, just when you think everything's kind of status quo, and again, the status quo is bad as life goes, like it got 100x worse, you know, a week later.
Yeah.
And has only progressed since there. So before we get into, and we got about another half an hour or so before 9, and I want to make sure we talk about the national team games over the last couple days. Not just the U.S. team has played, though I know we want to talk about
Not
that
gonna
for
lie,
a minute.
I didn't watch the last Mexico game.
So, well, good. Then we won't have too much commentary from you.
Yo,
so,
I'm locked up. I'm locked up.
So
Russia.
nice.
so we can
Russia's
talk about
locked
that.
up and-
We can talk about water, because there was some of that today, apparently.
Oh, we'll say that Mexican
moat.
players, though, announced players union that was endorsed by Chicharito
For the league.
For the league.
for the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the league. For Liga
Yeah,
MX.
Liga MX will have a union.
A
And Liga
union,
Ascencio.
which is
yeah,
huge.
all
That's
professional players
Yeah.
that play soccer in Mexico now have a union.
They
So-
had, sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
No.
Okay, they had to take Rafa off as the point man for that for now temporarily.
Something about dealing drugs.
He's dealing on,
I hear that's frowned upon.
Well, it's not. He's still. Wait,
it's not?
It's not.
He's not until he's found guilty. He's innocent until found guilty.
Because that's totally how that works.
I mean, I'll give my boy a chance. Okay, he's a Hall of Fame legend, one of the greatest footballers in Mexico history. And hey, I caught that. Anyhow, he's not the Miami football coach, offensive lineman. All right,
Can we go to the live look at the Star Wars trailer?
let's see that. Oh crap!
So
The
good.
new Star Wars trailer is amazing.
Did you see it?
How
I'm just
reading
is
the
it?
tweet.
Sometimes I hunch over.
Yeah.
Then you tell me to look at this, and I'm like, oh, I should sit
Yeah.
up.
That's why I actually keep it up on my
is
screen.
the actual
So,
trailer playing?
no, it's the Star Wars trailer. How amazing is
Literally
it?
a trailer.
So anyway,
My guy.
I needed to lighten the mood
No,
for a
no.
moment.
Oh, Chuck. If you
So-
don't know who Chuck Wendig is, he's basically writing half of the Star Wars novels these days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That makes that even better.
so
now.
coming into this weekend,
I'm not going to miss
so
any flights.
Sounders 4:30 in the afternoon. I know they came out with and Jerry was all hot on time change. I'm like, they time changed 4 months ago or something.
Kelly, are you
It's
okay over
still
there?
4:30. Dave is out.
Someone tell me that they're going to clip that as a GIF, please. Oh, my God. That might be I don't want to say that's the highlight of the show, but that's probably going to be the top 3 highlight of the show right there.
Dave's
It
done.
happened live. For those of you that watch it live and are here. What a gem.
I'm
To
going to text
see
her right
that
now
in
to tell her
person.
that.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That was good.
Yeah. So we'll get a GIF of that out on SonarFeed.
Oh, my God. We need
at
to.
SonarFeed
We
on the
need
Twitter. So can we go back to the live look at the no. So coming into this weekend, so Sounders play Sunday afternoon, first of the last 2 games. So the penultimate game of the season. You don't get to use that word often, so I'm using it.
Penúltimo en español. Penúltimo.
Versus FCD. Do we think either an MLS or NFL, NFL, Jerry Jones came out today and said that players who don't stand for the anthem are going to be punished? I expect this to only escalate between now and the weekend. Do we have any thoughts on what we think we might see? Because things don't seem to be getting better. There was apparently a student on the college campus of Texas Tech today who shot a police officer who I believe died, based on the early story that I saw. Forget the gun debate for a second. Just let's talk about this sports intersection thing that's happening right now.
It's heavy, and
it feels like it's going to be worse this weekend than it was last weekend, based on the escalation.
And you can blame it on the VP on that one, because if they hadn't done that stunt,
right?
It would have probably died down a little bit, because a lot of less players did it this last weekend, and now it's back on full fire. So
that happened. Today happened. The news is just ongoing. It doesn't seem to be improving. Do we think that a lot of this will continue to spill out of NFL in dribs and drabs, or do we think it really stays there?
I think it's already started to.
NHL player became the first one to raise a fist. NBA has clearly participated in it, although Adam Silver said that it's a requirement, and their collective bargaining agreement is much more strict than the NFL one is in regards to the national anthem.
Right.
The NFL game day operations manual merely says they should stand, not that they must. So you can easily violate that without a fine. The NBA actually requires standing for it. The WNBA clearly, NWSL clearly has taken its action.
Yep.
MLB has had an Oakland A kneeled. It's going to expand, particularly because the president and vice president inserted themselves into this debate on one side
instead of sticking to.
Well,
no, but even if they had done nothing,
by
saying,
inserting themselves, they reawakened something that had kind of died down to a couple of dozen.
I completely agree with him.
NFL players and all the WNBA. By bringing it back to the foreground, it got a lot more attention, and it will continue to get attention with political stunts like Vice President Pence did, where he wasted 5 hours to fly from Vegas to Indianapolis for a 10-minute appearance and back to L.A. just to prove that he, too, could protest the national anthem.
Yeah, dude, and I think it's going to escalate to fans. You're starting to see the L.A. Lakers fan that got some stuff thrown on them.
Yeah, the video that got deleted.
Yep, the video got deleted. You're seeing the cheerleaders at I think it was at Texas University that are getting some heat. And that's just the stuff that you see because people recorded it, right? Like,
Yeah.
like
Let alone the rest of it.
yeah. You've seen it at high schools now. I went to a high school homecoming assembly, and at the assembly, kids were doing. Some kids noticeably were kneeling down. Yeah, I think they only reheated. They brought it right back up. It was starting to kind of take a chill pill in essence, and kind of die down a bit. But now it's back on.
So it's really hard to bridge from this. Men's national team had a big match a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
They have a match tomorrow.
At the swimming pool, right?
We think it's in a swimming pool. It is apparently real grass.
Real grass is always better.
Somebody
With
carried
water.
Polachek or something, or what's his name? Someone carried him.
Pulisic.
Trainers and fitness
Pulisic.
dudes
Pulisic.
carried many of the players across because they were
Nice.
Because what?
because they were already in their soccer shoes, socks, shin guards, all of that. And so
Please tell me people
you
got
soak
videos
those
of
in
that.
water and then practice. You're essentially giving yourself blisters.
It'll be a sec, probably.
Yeah, but several of the players were
Fucking
carried across in various aspects. I
Come
can't
on.
imagine carrying Josie out the door. Even like
And his ego?
Dave in the fittest.
Yeah. So they play tomorrow night, 5 p.m.
They're gonna smash him.
Win and roll.
Smash him.
Feels like that, right?
Yeah.
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 So do we think Deuce gets a goal?
3.
Dude, I had such
He's
a great
scored 3
lead
goals.
written if he had scored against I have 3 or 4 paragraphs from that Panama.
Was it a David Lee Roth lyric?
No, it was strong. Like,
Are you saying David Lee Roth lyrics aren't strong?
you might as well jump.
I was going to just stick with Panama.
Same album.
Okay. I know.
And then he didn't score, and so I didn't get to use. And I kept it there because, well, I'll have to rewrite the whole the whole thing. But I'm ready for it.
All right. So
Hat
national
trick.
team tomorrow. Do you have any final words on the land of Mexico?
Mexico is chilling because they already qualified. I honestly did not even see a bit of the game against Trinidad. I don't even know the score. But I do know that, like I mentioned earlier, on the league side, it's a big deal that you have some big name players heading the players union. So that's pretty neat. I am excited to watch Peru tomorrow with my coworker. He's Peruvian and he's hyped. First time since 1982. Shout out to my boys from Colombia. I got love for you guys, but I really want Peru to make the first World Cup since 1982. And even if they lose, Colombia would probably still get in, even with the loss. The South American qualifier, though, that's the ones to watch. Like, it's going to be major. Like 5 or 6 teams could.
There is a potential scenario where Chile, Colombia, and Argentina all miss the World Cup.
Yes. If Argentina misses it would be glorious.
Yeah.
I am highly.
That's just because you're a hater.
That's because I'm like a lot of Latin America. Yes, we hate on Argentina because they're a bunch of punks.
Hatter's gonna hat.
Yep, Hatter's gonna hat. So I'm rooting for them to lose. I would love to see no Messi at the World Cup. No, let me take that back. I would love to see Argentina not at the World Cup. I would love to see Messi in the World Cup, but without Argentina somehow. I know that's not logical.
He can represent Patagonia.
That's good. I'm down with that.
Isn't that the
That's amazing.
territory in Argentina? Did I remember that
Macedonia.
No, Macedonia is
Macedonia's in Europe.
north of Greece.
Isn't it in Chile?
Didn't you go to Macedonia as part of the Russia trip?
Look it up. No.
Yeah.
The Falklands, the Falkland War. You're right.
Well, but he didn't.
We're going everywhere
I'm
right
down.
now.
As long as it's not
I
Argentina.
really like the thing a
They already
couple of
have
years
their
ago
English Messi.
where the guy came out
Harry
and said
Kane.
it was almost like the Schweinsteiger quote.
Schweinsteiger!
Where the guy
whole
was
crowd.
like, I wonder, I'm excited to see Messi play in the Euros. And everyone was like, what? Like you said that out loud in real life, and you're a professional soccer.
Yo, how's
Sports
what's his name?
journalist
The Brazilian
person.
kid. How's he doing in France? I haven't heard nothing.
Neymar?
Yeah, is he?
He's
doing
getting in fights with
His own teammates.
the
That's great.
former Napoli player.
Wow.
Who's the Napoli player?
Graziani.
Cavani.
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 Yeah.
Almost had it right. I
That's
knew
probably
it was
not a good
Cavani.
idea.
Yeah, they're
Graziani,
like
Cavani.
basically nearly coming to blows over who should be allowed to take a free kick.
I
Damn
love
it, Jeremiah found that.
Wow, Max said, did someone say Macedonia?
Max,
Hi, Max.
Hi,
Hola,
Max.
Max. Go down.
So,
How was the football game shoot? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so before we get
I'm
into
not gonna-
the game,
Patagonia, by the way, is a sparsely populated area on the southern tip of South America. It's shared between Argentina and Chile, but most of it's in Argentina.
I thought it was just
or
really expensive
it's
clothes.
a cool little store in Belltown.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to do the disambiguation.
And by little, I mean massive company that sells expensive, really
like
comfy gear.
super expensive.
But it's comfy.
Expensive.
Which one's more expensive, Patagonia, or Fison, or Filson?
Phil.
Yes.
Filson?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Now Patagonia, because Caroline, friend of the show,
Sweet.
Shut up.
got a job at Filson in
Toronto?
Yeah.
Wow.
In Toronto.
That's a Seattle company with a major
That's why
office.
I. That is why I mentioned it, because I saw her post.
Yeah. So shout out to Jake and Caroline, who got their apartment and apparently beat out a bunch of people who were probably pissed about Americans getting their apartment.
And we know what it's like to hate the people from outside your region moving in and driving up apartment
What's
costs.
that like?
Just kidding.
How's Rutgers?
Let me tell you, $1,700 a month rent in Buren is.
I toured a place
crazy.
yesterday, new construction, just to do, and I
You
was
already
complaining.
in or in new construction?
I was complaining about the rent in this building.
Oh, man.
Man
Anyway.
who it rents in new construction, already looking at newer
I go in
construction.
and out. I'm in new construction, out of new construction, in new construction. So today at Starfire, and Adam's got something that he can queue up for us.
What? We're gonna
Do you
go
have-
serious soccer
Do you have the
talk.
clip?
The audio?
He twisted his knee.
How much time we got?
You know, we'll get the full medical report, but it was his repaired knee, so obviously there's some concern there. That's why we had him come off the field right away. Just another freak. Yeah, he was just by himself, jumped up, landed funny. But we feel bad for the kid because he's super talented. So we'll see.
He's had some bad luck, certainly.
Yeah.
Last, even going back when he was trying to come to Seattle in the first place, it seems like.
Yeah. But we'll stick with him. I mean, he's a good kid. He's worth the effort. So, you know, it's just a shame because he was getting close to being back in full training. So, you know, that stuff happens, but we feel bad for him.
What was his status with you guys this year? Does it seem like he wasn't really on the roster? Or was he on the S2 roster? What was sort of his status for you guys?
You'd have to ask Garth and Chris that question. He was always, in my opinion, part of the team. How they did that from a roster construction, because he was going to be, you know, basically not play this year. You know, I don't know what official designation he was there, but we had planned on keeping him around, and we still do.
Oh, that's
Dave Ron.
So that was Brian Schmetzer talking about the injury to Olex Anderson today in practice. He was practicing on his own. He has been a regular side participant. He hasn't been with the group, but he's been a regular out there in their sessions like a normal healing athlete would be. And today, unfortunately, the knee that was destroyed on that at just hours before MLS Cup gave out. And it sounds pretty bad. When I was joking, it's one of those dark humor kind of jokes. I was joking about how prior to the show, I was joking how you know it's a bad injury because Schmetz didn't say he's a tough kid. Which he said for a broken arm, hamstrings, heart issues, all of that has gotten tough kid. But yeah, it's a sad situation with Olex because he's full of potential. and he's all speed. Like, I like to often talk about how Jordan Morris is all speed, but how Jordan Morris is a one skill speed only guy between the normal MLS forward. Olex Anderson is that much beyond Jordan Morris in that same skill distribution. He's even faster, but has every deficit that Jordan has in his game, Olex has even greater. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally a one-tool player, and to have a knee injury like that during recovery is
Devastating.
horrible for his potential and his future, because he's young, and it was bad. I was told to expect a best-case scenario where he would be playing soccer again during the preseason. I got to interview him, I guess it was the week before I got my my full-time job again, when I got to talk to him, and he was just like honored that the Sounders were treating him with respect and allowing him to heal and to train, but it was really all about, you know, a 14 or 15-month healing process, and now that's been... I mean, the best case scenario is there's no new damage, and it's just he goes back to wearing a brace for a while, a wrap or whatever. A worst case scenario is another surgery while he hasn't fully recovered from the first one. So they won't know. It's the same day as the injury. He's only 20, so at least he's got that youthful thing. Sometimes I wish I had all my surgeries back when I was young enough to recover within a few weeks. Like
Man,
these
that
kids
sucks,
do.
dude. That's such a
but
bummer.
it's and one of the other things that Schmetz talked about was how from the coaching staff they treated him as if he was still one of their players and recovering. As opposed, his contract status is technically free agent, but the coaching staff and the trainers and the medical staff treated him as one of them. It's the right thing to do, and it's a thing that most professional teams do around the world. But it's still awesome when the team you root for the most does it the right way.
Yeah.
But if you're dreaming of Olex Anderson,
Stay asleep.
yeah, what he needs right now is prayer and support, because it doesn't sound great.
Send it out.
And again, they'll know
Send it
more.
out, y'all.
They'll
Send
know
it out.
more Tuesday and Wednesday, but
That's rough.
yeah, it's
He's
hard
a
to
good
speculate.
kid,
I
man.
didn't watch it. The look on Schmetzer's face, I think the video, Adam, the video showed it, his face, right? If you watched it online, his face was not... Schmetzer's normally a happy dude.
Yeah.
And so when he gets down during interviews, it's pretty rare. You know, so... Wow, that's our serious for soccer.
That was really serious.
Yeah, but it's true, man. There's lives these to be, you know, these are
Yeah.
lives. They're not just athletes. They're not just sports, you know, players that we enjoy watching and rooting for and giving them crap when they're play that their family. Like I've seen him play the last 2 or 3 years.
Jesus.
You know, I saw him start with OS2, and I was like, man, that kid's fast, and then getting some quality minutes, you know, over the last year and a half, and with the first team, and it's a bummer, man. For you know, it sucks.
Man, I was gonna try to have a serious soccer conversation about Brian Schmetzer for a bit, but then we talked about Olex, and
Really quickly.
I don't know how to segue.
Just as we can segue, I got one.
Okay,
We're going to
good.
go to a live look at FC Dallas.
Okay.
I think Adam's got that. And then we'll come back from that, and we
Did they fill out their lineup card correctly this time?
We didn't even get to that yet. Nor did we get to the live look at FC Dallas in your clip.
How? Oh, so, yeah, I'm
behind.
even more behind than typical. It's going to be me again, isn't it?
Oh, you missed it.
Hold on, I can.
You broke the internet.
Okay, we'll just.
There it is.
Oh.
Live look at FCD. So let's talk about Brian Schmetzer.
Oh, I had asked him on Friday because Brian Schmetzer won a couple of trophies in his life, including the USL title in 2005 and 2007. And so one of the things that I'm trying to explore right now and figure out how to write up, I've talked to Brian and Lamar and Christian about it, is how do you go back? For most of the players on that roster, they had one singular goal in their professional career, and that's win the title at the highest level possible. There are a couple where that's not true. Chad Marshall has a couple trophies already, right? But we already discussed Clint Dempsey, who's possibly the greatest American soccer player until Christian Pulisic was born. Didn't win a title at any level, so they go through this effort to get that title. How do they get a second? We see it so often in sports where repeating isn't just a matter of being the most talented team. It takes luck and good fortune and a way to get motivated. We saw it with the Seattle Seahawks a few years ago. They won the Super Bowl. They got back and didn't do it. And there were a couple of weird errors. So ask Brian, so what happened in 06 and 08 after you won the USL titles, and how does that relate to this year? And the only answer I got was, that's a really good question, and I'll get back to you, Dave. Because he hadn't thought about that. And so now he's spending the weekend thinking, I won it all in 05 and in 07. That was the playoffs. In 05, he didn't win the regular season title. In 07, he doubled. In 2002, he got the regular season title as well. It's Commissioner's Cup at that level. But one of the things they have to figure out right now, they have two games which are essentially mini playoff. Win and you're in, win and you move on, win and you, to quote Christian, win and they have a chance to host the MLS Cup. If they don't win, they do not have a chance to host the MLS Cup. So they have to get up for these two games.
For sure.
And then they have the playoffs that they have to get up for. And it's not just about motivation, and it's not just about talent. There's some level of spark or synergy, or I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud right now, but they're at this point right now where it's not this searching for identity, which they went through for the first half of the season. It's not this refuse to lose that became refuse to win in the late season. And honestly, refusing to lose right now is a really good idea when you're in the playoffs. If you draw, you can draw your way to an MLS Cup win. We saw that. There's something they've got to find.
I completely agree, man. Something's missing. That je ne sais quoi.
Well, and even Giovinco, if you read his Players Tribune thing from last week, where he said, to be honest, it was something to the effect of, honestly, they didn't think they were going to win MLS Cup last year. Then they didn't.
Shouldn't have bought that trophy case and made us all know about it.
To be fair, Toronto does. They have a trophy case for every trophy that they can possibly win.
Yeah.
Oops, I muted your mic there.
Oh, good. Am I off? So it's going to be interesting because they have this. They have these circumstances and they have these injuries. Both of their captains are injured. The last two captains are out right now, and they've got a lot of leadership. Ramon Torres, Stephen Fry, Chad Marshall, Nico Ladero. Those are all guys that have worn an armband before. Christian Roldan's worn an armband before.
Yeah.
They've got leadership, and they've got talent, and what can we see in these last few moments that can do it?
I don't know, man. I think it's got to be some sort of catalyst run, like where they have like 15 minutes. I'll do. Can I do the green shot? It's some kind of green shot. Yeah, let's do that. Why not?
Ugo is going down.
I'm going. Yeah, I had a rough, busy, not rough. I had a busy work day at the end of the day. Anyhow, they need like a 10-minute run or 15-minute run of just beautiful Sounders football. Just them having fun, them playing at their best, but enjoying it, not forcing it. I hate to say it like that, but some kind of catalyst run, and even if it's just,
I thought it was going to be the Vancouver game, but then the Philly game happened.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
It did. I think that may be why I felt so bad about that loss was after just like you lose a game at RSL, fine. After a mediocre month, you destroy Vancouver, and then to have a few days later, you're playing a not good team, and like the Sounders haven't been just like dumpster fire during that whole period of losses or loss plus a bunch of draws and that one victory, and they like looked awful for the bulk of that game.
Yeah, you know, that's why I'm like we were very beginning of the show. I'm like, they need some like really strong finishes here to go into this playoff with that. But
I
and
like
not wear any casts.
but
yeah.
but I genuinely feel like without really trying, I could say they'll win both games at home.
Yeah.
Not just right now, like in general. You feel pretty confident about how they're going to play at home. Maybe not earlier at the beginning of this season, but generally speaking, you're like, they could take these two games. Like, Colorado is a dumpster fire. Dallas is, like, super weird.
They don't even know what a lineup is.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what's going on there. They know they need to win a game, you know. And what's unfortunate is they didn't get up for two crappy teams, and then the team winning the West right now, who's actually
To
like
be
a
fair,
rival.
RSL's probably going to be in the playoffs.
Now. No, partially because you lost the game to
They
them.
gave them
Look,
3 points.
They're a better team. Mike Petke with RSL has more wins than any other team in the West. And he didn't start coaching them until game 4.
Well, it doesn't have 11 losses or whatever it is.
Like,
So
what?
Flips it back again.
it's
you have it
12,
open.
13.
Sorry, he's third in wins in the West.
And so he's a point out of the playoffs
He's a point out of the playoffs.
with two to play.
Their performance under him, particularly after he'd been in place for like 2 weeks, has been impressive.
I'm sorry,
They're
can
a
our-
better team than Houston and Dallas.
Can our
by
new
far.
intro be Dave trying to put on his sweatshirt?
Oh, yeah. It is everywhere. Jeremiah
all night
retweeted
long.
it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when that guy who writes for the Seattle Times retweets it?
He doesn't follow any of us.
Larry
I still-
Stone?
Larry Stone.
Dude, if Larry Stone retweeted it, I would melt.
I still love
In
that you were
joy.
like, oh, we can totally have Jeff Baker on the show.
Fuck
and I was
that.
like, fuck you, dude.
No, who
I
said
won't be
that?
here. Mark.
I still think we should invite him just so we can drag him the entire show.
So 2 wins. 2 wins they're in for sure, right?
Yeah. No, I thought it was just one win.
One win they're in.
They're in for sure.
Yeah.
2 they can do some damage with depending on how things work out for the teams ahead.
We're taking a figure
break.
out who ordered what break.
Beer break.
Thank you.
End of show break.
Give me beer.
So 2 games to go. Dallas on Sunday. Knowing what we know now, do we expect to see anything different? Do we think we'll see a similar lineup to what we saw last weekend?
I think we'll see the same lineup when VIII was playing, and we're gonna kick butt.
It'll be more like the Philly lineup.
That's Vader.
V8.
It should be the
Vader.
VIII lineup. Vader
It'll be the V8 lineup.
against.
It'll be more similar to that. They'll be able to start Clint. They'll be able to play V8. And they might have Torres and Marshall both healthy. And then they might be able to play a good defensive midfield pairing of Svensson and Roldan.
Ooh, I like that.
So, yeah.
Those guys are good.
I mean, even with all these injuries, they're still really good.
It's just
I still
inconsistent. They're
still
not
think they're
bad.
the
It's
favorites to win the West.
what? Over Oh, never
Over
mind.
what? What garbage
Yeah, no,
team?
there is no-
Vancouver
you're right.
that has
No, but really, like Sounders,
nothing garbage.
Sounders
like,
win twice, right? And they have 53.
But we want Vancouver to win.
Sure, but Vancouver, like if you look at like their fundamentals, they have no idea how to score. They're a poor
They're
defensive
streaky.
team.
And they're in Vancouver.
They're willing to sacrifice possession, which means they have to defend perfectly, constantly. They're not a great team. You look at Sporting Kansas City, they're extraordinary defense, but they couldn't score to save a life. Portland, I would find challenging.
So the trick with all of this though is KC, who is in second currently with 48 points, has 3 games to play, and 2 of them are versus Houston, who's 4 points below the Sounders.
Shall we review who was called up for the international break from Kansas City?
Who?
No.
Who?
How much time do we have?
Their center back and their right back are both away with the U.S. national team in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Would you feel like playing in that moat-surrounded field in not the capital of Trinidad Tobago and then flying to Kansas City for a game the very next night? Because
Nope.
that's when their next game is.
Yep.
It's Wednesday night. So it's not during the international break, but they're fucked.
There's no way they're playing
At Houston.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Houston at home is extraordinary. Houston on the road, trash hole.
So
Kansas City's losing that game.
The rest of the way out here, unfortunately, we have to hope for DC to get a result versus Portland. And then for Vancouver to draw or beat Portland from a Cascadia Cup standpoint. You have Vancouver playing San Jose this coming weekend.
Colorado and Salt Lake.
And you have
Salt Lake will win that.
Kansas City playing Houston this week. Houston on the weekend. Go figure.
Great.
Home and home.
Great job.
Home and home with
In
a
a
week and a
weekend.
half left.
And then a week. And then they play RSL at RSL to close out the season.
RSL will win that.
I would like to see Minnesota beat LA Galaxy.
I want
Just for laughs
Minnesota
and
to
shit
give
and
up
giggles.
12 goals.
Minnesota is not eliminated from the playoffs yet.
Which is...
What?
So what's the record? 67? The Chivas record?
Oh, for
Goals against?
the
Can
goals
we talk
against in
about
a
that
34
LA2
game
team,
season
not Chivas, please?
is
We agreed to not refer to them.
We didn't.
Chivas.
you
No.
did. You made that up yourself.
had
That's your
disagreement
fault.
with
Chivas
that
So
USA.
yes, it's 67
Chivas.
goals
So
in
they
a 34
have
game season,
goats.
and both the LA Galaxy
Chivas.
and
They're
Minnesota
not.
United could
Chivas.
challenge.
Well,
They're
they're not
So
LA
anymore.
team.
Minnesota United has
They're a
64
former LA
goals
team.
against.
Chivas.
Mhm.
They're
and they have 2
former
games
LA
left.
team.
Are they both on the road?
No, we're talking about the former
LA has 2
Yeah,
games
Chivas.
left with 62 goals scored against, and they're also garbage. And if they're home games, LA might lose.
You're lucky that feels-
So Tom is looking it up because both Minnesota United and the LA Galaxy
Oh yeah.
have 2 of the
You're
worst of the 5 worst defenses in MLS
So,
history.
oh my gosh, to make it
and
more
they get to
fun,
play each other.
the Galaxy play against Minnesota at home this weekend. And then they close the season at Dallas.
Yeah, that's something.
And they only need to let up 5
Take
to
the
tie
over.
the all-time record.
Take the over in the LA Galaxy hosting Minnesota United game this weekend. Take the over.
And then
Find that place
for
that you
you,
can
Mato.
bet.
And
the
then-
reason is because the LA Galaxy are 2-9-5 at home, and
Wow.
Minnesota is 3-10-2 on the road.
So, and they play both their games on the road, and the second one is versus San Jose.
Well, San Jose
At
can't
San
score
Jose.
though.
So, in theory, both of these teams could meet or exceed the all-time most goals
Wow.
against.
The West has 2 of the 5 worst defenses in MLS history, and the Seattle Sounders were held to just 1 goal in their last 2 games against the LA Galaxy.
I don't even know.
God
I
damn
actually
it, Siggy
can't
Schmidt.
even.
You can grind out. I'm sorry, I used the G word.
So Mickey says Minnesota was eliminated.
No.
So does Eileen. They both called you out on your shit right now.
Hold on.
Max calls them Sporting Dan Kennedy,
Dude, that GIF is going crazy.
which is a wonderful name for Chivas USA. And I love Dan Kennedy. But
It was the left arm. I was trying to put
John
my
wants
head in
to
the
know
left
how
arm.
Ozzy is.
Ozzy was practicing on the side, light jogging. Came in late, left early. I still think best
Maybe he
case
had
is
stuff to
he's
do.
best case he's 2 weeks out.
Like 2 weeks out is in, he could play in the regular season final.
Oh, Minnesota got eliminated during the international break.
Damn.
If you had paid attention, like when I hadn't paid attention to the
You know what
fact
would really
that
help?
we had played a game in
If the
between other
frickin'
two.
league took the international break off.
That's not going to happen.
I also have a lot of thoughts on international breaks. If you read sounderatheart.com, shameless plug. Basically, I think there should only be 2 international breaks, and they should be long, and that's it.
So
Talk about that later on my show that I
So
host.
basically, when we come back next week, the standings could look vastly different.
Yeah. Night and day, dude. Night and day.
So the Sounders could, even if the Dynamo win twice versus KC, the Sounders could be in second come next Monday.
Yep.
With a victory.
Anywhere from second to fourth.
In fact, they could be tied for second with a draw come Monday.
Wow.
So, to Dave's point, they're very much in it, depending on how things shake out for everybody. So,
Need to have some
it just
monster games.
sucks to watch things when
Take care of
everybody,
business.
where like you don't have control. It is a lot of help to get from fourth or fifth to first or second.
Yeah.
It could end up really, really strange. So, any predictions for Sunday?
I feel good about it because I know that we will do well at home. These 2 games.
Are you
One
a
of these-
robot right now?
I feel
you kinda
we
sound
will
like a
do
bot.
well at home.
I'm just saying
Guys, DJ Brian is on.
we're gonna win 2-0.
Is this another new one?
2-0.
2-0 on both games at home, and look good doing it.
So, Sunday, who scores?
Dempsey.
Wow. We have Dempsey and we have a Kovar.
V8, Vader.
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 He does not have a pretty touch on his shots.
No,
Roman,
he does
no.
not. He
That
has-
dude, if Roman Torres scores a goal, 40,000 people will be on the field at the rate he is going.
guys
What's
go
more
out,
likely, that I figure out how to put on a sweatshirt or Ramon Torres scores a goal?
Roman.
You figure out how to put on a sweatshirt. But not with that GIF rolling. Yeah, he's never going to get it the next time.
Victor seems to have worse touch in front of the goal than I do.
No. But like he can take anyone and then their partner defender into the corner and they don't come out with the ball.
Yeah.
But you never know now. The guy just had a kid. It could be on. So shout out to the Rodriguez's.
Of the world.
Well, yeah, but
Shout out to all the
specifically.
pair.
Ours.
Anyway,
Chivas.
so 2-0 from Ugo.
2-0.
What do you got, Mark?
3-0.
3-0.
Deuce brace.
Woo!
Deuce brace in
I
like
meant
the
to say
first
Victor
half.
and Deuce.
Yeah.
Victor and Deuce. On
One
mine.
with each foot.
Yeah.
Even? So,
Yeah.
okay.
You get really wild and say hat trick and one on each foot in his head.
Is that what you're going with?
No.
I just won
Okay.
my fantasy football league. Yeah.
David?
David.
Blues Brothers
David.
is happening behind us.
No, Yippee-ki-yo is...
Blues Brothers 2000. Learn a thing or two.
Blues Brothers 2000 is not a thing.
Blade
Just let it go.
Runner.
Let it go, Dave. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it
Let it go.
Mark's the guy that watches the Adam Sandler Netflix only shows.
Click was horrible.
It was horrible.
Proving I was right. I'm more confident against Dallas. So I'm going to go something like 3-1 against Dallas.
3-1. How many times does Barrios sub in?
3 times. They only pay a fine. They use college substitution rules for Barrios and somehow only pay a fine.
Seems legit.
Okay, so
like
3-0.
Subbing him off in the
3-1.
first half, putting him back on.
3-1 Sounders.
Yeah.
Do you have any notable happenings?
Gustav Svensson. Goal.
Did you see Ugo's face?
I did not expect that.
Jovan Jones assist trick. If you know what I mean.
What?
On all 3?
All the
So
crosses?
that dude is going out in a big
Left
way,
back
is what you're
only.
saying.
Yeah. The Jovan Jones left midfield experiment dead, and the Seattle Sounders win a lot.
I would like to shout out the drummers in ECS section who, when they subbed out Jovan Jones last match, they sang Auf Wiedersehen.
That's fantastic.
It was so good because everyone was just singing it, and then like 20 seconds into it, they were all like, "Oh."
I kind of just want to say Darmstadt, like because
Wow.
you need that
Like
deep
Du hast.
metal death.
Du hast.
Yeah.
Like that.
Anyway, all right. Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
say-
The GIF of me is probably trending in Seattle now.
I'm going to stick with Ugo's Dos a Cero. Yeah, and I'm going to say Nico and I'm going to copy you and
Ooh,
say Svensson.
I would love Nico to score.
Nico
man.
and
He needs to
Svensson.
score. Let's go. I'll take it.
And
all
Nico is going to be on a penalty
Lock the
in the
playoffs.
first 15 minutes.
day. Woo! Let's go.
And
can't
it's
do a
not going to
penalty.
be a Panenka.
That's only for Deuce.
Did you see how good Josie got?
It was so good.
He's so great at penalties. It's like he spent an entire year practicing.
Weird how that happens. There's some love happening
It's just a little
right
chilly.
now. Oh, Mark's cold. Oh, never mind. All right. Anyway, so SonarFeed will be back a week from tonight
With no scrubs.
with no scrubs. And I still can't get over the sporting Dan Kennedy thing. That's really good, Max. Any other questions in the room? Everyone's like, I am cold. We go home.
Not too bad. It's yeah.
And on that note,
We should stay on right now for the rest of the show.
So we're working on getting
turn
a
up the gain.
signature guest at least once a month.
We have a couple.
No.
We have a couple in the.
We got some feelers out,
In
and
the
we want
loop.
some other guests as well, like fans and stuff.
Do you know who's not
More
coming on the
likely
show?
to be on the show, Jeff Baker.
Oh, that's right. You have the loop.
Jeff Baker will be on twice before we even think about Jason Rants.
Fake rants.
While Ugo is
Lip syncing.
going to town. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for
Thank
folks
you.
in the bar.
Thank you.
Shout out
It has
to the
been a
Berliner.
pleasure,
all
or
the
like
pair.
my dad
Yet
taught
again.
me to say, the pleasure was all yours.
And we still got Oktoberfest here at the Berliner.
Be
Friday,
here.
Saturday, right? Friday, Saturday.
We got 2 more weekends of Oktoberfest at the Berliner.
It'd be popping.
Manuela Horn is not here this weekend, but the weekend after that.
From last weekend?
That's their final weekend of Oktoberfest. Different beers featured every weekend. Come on down. The party
Get
will
over
be
here.
inside. It'll be outside. The beer hall. They'll make it fun. Hoppy Hans is also here for the final weekend. They're the opener and closing act. It's a Berliner pub. Third Main, downtown
Let's
Renton.
go live to Dave in a sweatshirt. And with that, we will close tonight's show. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.